Hi homemakers, it's Josephine and this is my channel, The Versatile Housewife. We're going to just be doing a little bit of ironing pieces to quilt together, and along with that just kind of chatting a bit. So I am trying to get better about putting chapters, so please check out this description for the different topics if you want to skip through some of the intro stuff. And today pretty much going to be talking about having confidence in your style of homemaking and being unashamed in terms of your personality reflecting in your home. If you look, I very much have things out in the open. You can see here I have motorcycle gear on my walls, robes on my walls, and for starters, this is the master bedroom, primary bedroom, so it's not like I'll have guests in here. However, the rest of my house is a bit similar. Everything that I have is on display, so although this is not everyone's cup of tea and might be considered overwhelming for many, this is the way that I operate. This is the best way that I operate. And I know for a lot of people, sometimes outside opinions or other opinions you see online might get to you. You should be behaving a certain way, or your home should look a certain way. To have my walls covered in things, some people might say is untidy. It doesn't look clean, it's overwhelming. For me, and from what I see, people who tend to have ADHD, I've never been diagnosed for anything, I just find it relatable, is that when things are out where I can see them and that's where they're supposed to go, when I'm using it, I also remember to put it up. There is the hook, it's right there, and if there's something missing up there, I kind of know, well, there's an object lying around that I need to put back up. I remember to clean things. This is why doing things like laundry and dishes has sometimes been frustrating, because taking care of putting dishes on the counter into the dishwasher is one thing, then getting the clean dishes from the dishwasher back into closed cabinets that I cannot see is another. But yeah, so just having confidence in your type of homemaking that matches your personality. We are not 1950s housewives here. This is 2025. So that's a good like 70 plus years difference. And I think that I've personally struggled with that. I spent quite a bit of time trying to, so I had my first baby when like the lockdown things were happening, from the big panini. I'm still not 100% sure what is okay to talk about, but regardless, I didn't really have people from my family to come encourage me and visit me with certain restrictions, and I didn't necessarily live super close. So it was just me, my husband, and our firstborn. And I went online looking for advice, and I kind of changed everything. That's when minimalism was starting to take off, and a lot of people were spending their free time, you know, getting better at decluttering, cleaning, and making everything cohesive. And cohesive oftentimes meaning kind of like the gray colors, the gray to beige scale colors. And that's not how I am. I'm quite possibly a burgeoning maximalist who is learning my limits on things. I love to go through rotation. I love color. I don't necessarily mind having clashing colors. And so more so learning gradients and complementary colors to try and make my home look not quite as offensive and in your face as it used to be when I was a teenager, but definitely moving away from having a very single toned home when I was first a mom and really beginning to learn the skill of homemaking, because it's a skill. So I'm gonna pause on that note for a moment real quick and let me get my iron started so that I can quilt, because my kids are out with their dad doing a hike right now, and I only have a little bit of time for the quiet stuff. Otherwise I'd be doing this at night, and since I didn't schedule quite appropriately, I can't be doing this at night, but eventually I will be doing a lot of ironing and stuff at night, and it's not gonna be a big deal. I can talk, whatever, you know what, whatever. Alrighty, so got my box. It's over here. If I'm reaching, that's what I'm doing. This is probably one of my least favorite parts, just because it's tedious and it's not as fun. And every time I go to put these away, I never quite know when I'm going to be able to work on them again. And yeah, with kids, they're the priority. So, but yeah, in doing homemaking for you and yourself, you have to do it for your family. So I mean, not just you, but your family. My husband's very similar to how I am, and if things are hidden, then it's just gonna be messy. So we have everything out in the open, and we try to prioritize putting stuff on the walls so that we have clear floors. Because the other thing with small children is that they get into things, and it's just easier to have, if we're already having to constantly put stuff up, to do shelves. And I've had to learn all kinds of skills, learning how to be my own kind of handyman and put things high up, learn to use a drill, learn to find studs, learn to avoid wires, which is a little side note. Frustrating when it turns out the way your home is and the way the electric is set up is definitely different than what you would expect. But regardless, I've had to learn. So, but yeah, the homemaking, you know, the thing that was in the first portion of the 2020s is definitely that minimalism, clear, clean, calm look. Maybe your decoration is some plants, and that's just, I mean, I love plants. I'm not really a good plant mom. I'm a better human mom. But it's too quiet for me. And I get bored. I go from project to project to project. So I have a tambourine on the wall. I have 2 guitars on the wall, and I do use them. And because they're not in a case, in a closet, I use them. I discovered when I have a guitar and I leave it in a guitar case, I don't use it. But if I keep the guitar on the wall, in my face, I'll actually play it. I'm like, you know what? I'm in the mood to play the guitar. So I take it off the wall and I play it. And that's just how that works for me. You might be different. It might be too loud for you. Your family may do much more outside of the home than just in the home, and you can keep it quieter. And that's perfectly fine and all right for you to do. And I commend you for that. Okay, so here's something that I've been doing with these quilts. I hand stitched it because I had a broken machine. I've got another one that works better, and I will probably run over that with an actual machine, but I want to iron it again before I do that. And so if you like a quieter home, you like muted colors, you like a very basic home, because in here we're just trying to avoid letting judgment get to us, because it's not about everybody else. Your house is about you and your family. I will say, when your kids are little, I think there is a level where when you are the primary carer of their space, my personal opinion is then it can be however you want it to be. But as they do start to grow a little older, I do think some parents maybe take it a little too far with forcing their home onto their kids' faces. Children are individuals, and they have their own desires. One of those examples for me personally is I kind of like that traditional wood feel. I love the traditional wood feel, especially for a children's room. They have little wooden rocking horses. I made those quilts. I made quilts that have a level of nautical feel to them, but that kind of American colonialism, you know, the browns, the patriotic colors, but everything looks good on a wooden frame, wooden dresser, wooden, lovely like chestnut type stained furniture. However, my kids really want their bunk bed, which we're doing a triple bunk, but they would like it to be stained blue. That's not really, I don't want that for their room, but they're getting older and it's their room. So a blue bunk bed it will be. And I'm excited to work around that. And I'm thankful that the quilts that I did have blue. So again, I do still like cohesiveness, but they're kids. And when they move out, they're going to have their own style. And my mom respected my individuality, and I of all the gripes I might have, she respected my individuality, and she respected the fact that when I was 18 legally, I would have the rights to leave her and to do what I wanted. And so she just kind of had rules for her house if I was there on her property, and if I was going to live there, then I would need to follow a curfew. But she wasn't going to just destroy our relationship because I became a legal adult and then chose different things. And at 19, I moved out. So there's that. And she hasn't had to worry about me, and me and my husband have been self-sufficient, been living a good life. But yeah, the kids are individuals. Absolutely, though, as a parent, you still have primary decision making in terms, especially with young children. Like, their cap on toys. I see broken toys. If it's not an easy fix, gone. It's gone from the house. Plus, sometimes they have been given the same toy by different people. I don't. I also choose my battles when it comes to toys. I don't really prevent people from gifting them things. However, I also don't feel bad if I then pass it along if I can't handle it or if it breaks. This is going to be a little bit niche, and I am not 100% sure where I'm going with this, but I do find now that I'm no longer breastfeeding, I need to keep ironing while I have the chance. This fabric got dirty. I gotta clean that one first. Yeah, this will work. No, it won't. This might be a little niche. So not everyone would agree with maintaining certain activities after being married or having kids, and I ride motorcycles, and not everyone would agree with that. So if you are, again, we're not just traditional housewives here, homemakers here. We are homemakers, and we love our families while respecting ourselves. So if you like performance vehicles, there are some things that you can do to make it a little bit smarter, at least. There's no reason to ride super crazy. And I used to squeak around. I used to wear just a helmet and gloves as my gear. I don't do that anymore. That's kind of foolish. And although I think I looked like some cute stuff on the road, I need to be here for my kids. And I have fallen off the bike before. And the only part that really got banged up was where I had jeans, and I didn't have, because I couldn't afford at the time, the nice armored Kevlar leggings. So as I'm starting to get back into riding motorcycles again, I don't play around with getting geared up. I do it. Even if it's hot, I put my gear on. There are ways to still maintain your personal identity while being responsible to your family. And I wouldn't let anyone shame me. There's lots of vices that people have that get less judgment over how you enjoy free time. And that one, I think that one is defendable to me. Not everyone would agree, but my husband and I do a really good job at making sure that we're not in debt, that we don't pass anything like that on to kids, and heaven forbid if something did happen to me, they will be taken care of. So there's that. It can be hard. We're all different. I don't know. I felt like sharing that because in these videos you will see lots of things like my biking gear in the background, and that's one of the things I do. Okay, I got a little lost with that. I got a little distracted. I had a moment where I needed to take a break, and I was like, did that actually go anywhere? But I remember where I started with this whole talk. Not rambling. I don't think it's just rambling. But yeah, so like I do the motorcycles. I'm not gonna let someone else tell me that I can't. I mean, they're allowed to tell me that I shouldn't, but it's not going to stop me from having biking paraphernalia on the walls. And also when it comes to my kids as they get older, if they have an interest in it, I think there's a lot of really little ways in which they can kind of explore it without it just being no and then becoming something mysterious that they might act out of spite on, because a lot of people do that. You go hardcore no and then your kids act out of spite. So, but there's like little PW50s, TTR90s, there's all kinds of little dirt bikes that are very small, and there's trails and there are biking parks. And, you know, when you are a parent, you can enforce you need to be geared up even just to do the off-roading things. So there's that. I look forward to that. I kind of view that as settled. But another area in which I definitely am not like some of these channels, I made a video about this, but it's that I don't always get dressed for the day. And it could be because I'm so close to having had my last baby in terms of, they're not, my kids aren't like 5 and up. So I remember being a pregnant and tired mom with littles, because I was always like pregnant again before my kids turned 2. Because even with the age gap between my second child and third child, I still had a pregnancy that didn't make it. So I still experienced that tiredness with a 1-year-old. And all I can say is I don't necessarily agree with the whole make your bed every day, or getting dressed every day. Because when you are a stay-at-home mom and your kids need you, they're waking up throughout the night. Sometimes you're literally living in robes, nightgowns and robes. And maybe that's why I love my robes, but constantly filtering through spit up robes. I wear a robe and a nightgown. It gets spit up and it goes in the washing machine. I don't separate I do now, but when I was having the babies, I wasn't gonna let someone who had been homemaking for decades, whose kids had moved out, I'd see the videos. You take the advice that applies to you, that works for you, and you can just let the rest, you sift through it and you let the rest blow away like chaff. Because it's okay. Different people have different seasons they also live in. So I was taking all my nice clothes. It was survival of the fittest, and they would go in the washing machine right along with the towels. Because I was in survival mode. I wasn't sleeping. Me being able to eat a good meal on my own outside of maybe like a girl dinner and being super stressed, was not a guarantee. A lot of times it'd just be snacking throughout the day or eating my kids' leftovers. And I was tired. And also, if you're watching this, maybe you are aware, but why is it postpartum hormones and with breastfeeding, the must, the smell, and it's super strong and it lingers. So I wasn't about to spend, I don't know, it would take me a really long time to be able to shower and get any kind of smell off and so much deodorant just to dress nice and within an hour smell bad again. Like a lot of times at that rate, I'm gonna be in my pajamas, I'm gonna make the kids breakfast, they're gonna make a mess because they're learning to use utensils and plates because they're all under the age of 3. And I am going to just change my clothes into more loungewear or pajamas. Especially, so I do see some people, look, not everyone has a husband that they are concerned about being dressed nice for. Some people, either depending on the work schedules or they are living with their parents or somebody else, or they have a maternity leave, so for a period of time, and they're providing for themselves. There's lots of situations in which, or they have a husband who understands, there's lots of situations in which you don't need to just look presentable for a man. We don't have to always do that, especially when kids are young. So my personal opinion, I love to dress up for my husband. But have you seen the memes and humor of when women dress up for their husbands, their boyfriends, whatever, and not a peep? The guy wants to go out on a date wearing like a t-shirt and pants that don't match, or like shorts with the, you know, the Adam Sandler drip, Adam Sandler look. And it's when the woman is wearing sweats and a sweatshirt, whatever, and the hair is in a sloppy bun, and that's all of a sudden when he's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Well, my husband does a similar thing. So if I need to clean the bathroom, I need to get caught up on laundry. If the kids were awake throughout the night and I'm tired, you know what? I am not going to get dressed, and I'm not going to have someone really say anything about it to me. And kind of when I'm blessed and fortunate to have the days where I don't have any errands to do, sometimes I just use my pajamas. I got cute pajamas to wear them around the house. My kids go to bed at like 7:30 to 8 p.m. And I don't know, like I have all these robes. I'm dropping all kinds of fabric. I have all these robes and pajamas. That is my active wear. I don't do the I don't do like the active wear lounge sets. I wear actual pajamas with robes, and there's nothing wrong if you do that. I'm just saying that's my personal take, and I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. And some people would very much disagree with not getting dressed for the day. I have a uniform in terms of it's like I have pairs of jeans, so throw on jeans, throw on a shirt, and throw on a jacket. And I can always get dressed and at least get my hair in some kind of bun within 5 minutes. So then if I really need to rush out and I hadn't gotten dressed all morning, I still can do that. And if I don't look presentable when I answer the door, I also don't feel bad. When you have people soliciting you for religious reasons or whatever else, I really don't feel bad looking unkempt. Bye. I'm busy. But yeah, so like that's another way in which I would say you can feel confident. Like don't let influencers make you feel bad because you didn't get dressed and you have two and under, or 2 under 2, or you had triplets. Like, look, going from 0 to 1 is already crazy. That was hard for me. So again, I mentioned during the whole like lockdown situation, yeah, that was a hard time. So, and yeah, so like for example, not making your bed when everyone's sick, because how many times do you maybe go back in there, you curl up with your babies back in it? You don't have to make your bed every single day. Or when you know that it's laundry day to do the sheets, like I'm not gonna make my bed when I know at some point that day I'm gonna clean the sheets. It just, unpopular opinion, it's not always a requirement to do certain things. People are not robots on timers. We're not a computer program. So yeah, there's a lot of ways in which, you know, not everything you do might be everyone's cup of tea, but we're all unique, because the same way is not everything I do is your cup of tea. Not everything someone else does is going to be your cup of tea or my cup of tea. And I think that's okay. I think that also makes it very unique. Like, I have a whole friend group, and we all do things differently, and they all suit our individual family needs. So, you know, you have people who have land, they have animals, they have acreage, they have a larger garden. You have people who live in apartments and townhomes. And I know the experience of going from an apartment to having a little bit more land, so I can actually do a garden and not just herbs or anything like that. That was hot. But we all have different needs, and that's kind of why I feel like you don't have to homestead to homemake. You know, you don't have to have chickens to homemake. You don't have to have a perfectly curated home visually to be a homemaker. Because if you are taking care of a lot of animals, you know, maybe you're homeschooling and stuff as well, you're not going to have that same level of time to curate. And that's not to shame either party. That's just to respect the individuality and differences. And I think when you have respect for yourself in regards to what you do, and you kind of set aside what other people think and you're confident in it, I do think respecting yourself, that leads to respecting others. And it's not viewing yourself as better than. It's respecting yourself for it. That same love others as you love yourself. So, which is another note. You don't have to do a devotional every single morning to be a homemaker who cares for her family. I know for anyone who is religious, sometimes that can be really hard when you have seasons where you are not getting that time to spend with your Creator in the morning, to spend meditating or praying. That can be really hard. Just because there's some days or some seasons where that's not happening doesn't mean that you lack the intent, and it doesn't mean that you are cruel. If anything, I think a lot of times it's more of a personal thing, like you miss feeling close. See, this is a crazy quilt, so I can do this. Also, on the wall, you see right there, proof of the convenience. I'm not even going to worry because it's a crazy quilt. Crazy patchy quilt. Oh, I should have cut that too. Well, boom. Now I got these pieces. I'm not going to worry about those. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to worry about sewing things together, and we'll call it an end here. But yeah, I definitely have a hard time when I don't get to spend that time with God doing devotionals. But I've had mature, believing women be my mentors and let me know now, with their kids all being older, moved out and stuff, that it's a season. There's a lot that you could do, but to just feel as though you failed, you didn't. You know, you are in the position that God called you to be, and you didn't just fail. So, with that being said, I have just a few more things left, and I know not everyone's religious, not everyone has those beliefs, and you can still homemake, and I think that this advice is still valuable to be confident in your homemaking, because all it does is it benefits your family, which benefits your society. So, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here. I think that my speech is getting a little bit broken up because my brain is a little flustered. I just heard the washing machine beep at me and the dishwasher's going. And although I definitely put my machines to use, I make them work for their keep, earn their keep, that power bill to pay for them to keep on running. I'm getting distracted. So thank you for making it to the end here. If you have any kind of oddity that maybe someone's even gotten on to you about, but there's no real reason that it should make your homemaking bad, I would love to hear it in the comments section. Like the same way I have my walls covered in stuff. They are absolutely covered in stuff. Hold on one moment. See, there's a guitar. Look at that. Oh yeah, covered in stuff. I would love to hear some of the things that maybe you do that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it works out well for you and your family. So I hope that you have a wonderful week as it's coming up, and I hope that you unashamedly embrace your personality in your homemaking. Bye.